Hi everyone, this is Reg Mason. I'm here with McFarline, and we're just gonna talk about Speedway, the EP, and this is Checkerboard. So we're gonna start off with the first record called Drama with Miss Kennedy K.
You put a feature on that song?
I guess, well, let me get comfy with that. So, what made me put a feature on that particular record was, I just felt like it needed a female presence, you know? Because, I don't know, I feel like with my particular audience, like it's very filled with testosterone, and it's like pretty unnecessary. So I felt like it was really important for this record to just show my range a little bit, and I felt like a good way of doing that would just be to have like a female presence on it. So yeah, and I also want to just work with more people in general.
So when you worked with Miss Kennedy K, was there a lot of chemistry when you were making the song, or did you just send it to them and then that was it? You got a verse back?
I just sent it to her, but she was a really, really good sport about just how the whole record went. I sent it over to her because actually, funny story, don't know her like that much, like at all. Like I found out about her through making this song because I was on Discord, and then there's this artist from Seattle named Luke Arthur who also engineered her portion of the record. And I was on Discord just with the homies, and I was like, hey, yo, I'm trying to find like a woman who could rap like on some Gangsta Boo, like 3-6 Mafia.
It has like a cupcake vibe to it as well.
That Trina, just really detailing back towards like the type of shit that, I don't know, I guess a woman that represents counterculture in a way, or not what you would expect of a regular woman. And she fit the mold perfectly. And so Luke Arthur, he was like, hey, yo, there's this artist that I work with in Seattle. Her name is Kennedy. Call her up, see what she says. And then after a couple of messages shooting back and forth, she sent me the verse back in like 15 minutes.
Okay. 15
minutes. And it was fantastic. And then after like a week or so period, she sent me like the files and everything, and then it was just perfect.
So was that the first song done on the EP, or was there a different song and then you just kind of arranged it that way?
Well, actually the very first song that I finished for this was Hola, the next track. Okay. But just detailing back to Drama, it was done pretty quickly. Like I did it like maybe in a night or so. Les sent me over the record. It was supposed to be a VWO record, which is, you know, you already know, which is my group, and nobody had anything for it. So he sent it back. I always send records back when, like, no matter where I get it from or who I get it from, and and I also got my mom on it too. Okay. So I really love this.
So the only reason why I asked about the features is because the whole EP seems like a testament to you, right? It seems like it's very personal. It seems like you kind of strip back some walls. So did you feel like at any point a feature may take away from that, or do you feel like you purposely started that way because you knew you were gonna go into these places of, you know, yourself?
That's a really good question, actually. I don't know. I just kind of went with what felt good, you know? Yeah. And I feel like what felt good, the direction that it was going in, my intuition just told me, hey, yo, we need, like, a woman who could spit on this. Yeah. Like, and another thing that my intuition told me was for some reason to, like, get my mom on it. I don't know why, but it's like she just has, like, such this wild, like, not wild, but just very bombastic energy towards her, and I just felt like it was really important to like double down on the female presence and like capture that as well at the beginning. But she was like, "Ain't nobody scared of no police." That's my mother.
Okay, I didn't know that. And that's your mom on Les's tag every time too.
No, not every single time. I recorded that to kind of switch up like Les's "Ain't nobody scared of no police," like it being a man.
So you sent that recording of that snippet to him to put in there specifically?
Oh no, like I just recorded that like on the spot. I was like, "Hey mom, so just say ain't nobody scared of no police like 10 times and get more wild every single time."
Okay.
So it was like, "Ain't nobody scared, ain't nobody scared, ain't nobody scared."
And then it was just a process from there and building on.
Yeah, like she literally took like 5 minutes because she works from home, so she put the fucking headset down, and comes to the bedroom, and she's like, "Ain't nobody," and then I'm like, "Thank you, mom. All right, you can get back to work."
Yeah, you can tell from just getting into it how it starts, the production. It's very simple. It's very to the point. You know, it's all about what you're saying, and everything's there to accompany it. So when you got to the end, were you at a point where like this needs something else, and then you're like, "Ma, come do this," or you just kind of had that idea in mind that whole time, and then just went from there?
I wanted to start this record off with all the most important people in my life. You could hear them within the first 10 seconds. It's like, Les, my brother, he made the beat. Mom, my mother, she's, screaming her fucking head off. And before you even hear me say a word.
Yeah.
So I just thought that would be like a really cool idea to like have that recording of her. So that I could show that for generations down the line. Just to like, I guess, have that moment in time of all of us being together and working on something. I just thought that was so cool.
So how did that play into the arrangement if Drama wasn't the first song done?
I don't even know.
Right. It just kind of happened that way.
Yeah, literally, it was just like, I think that a part of me always knew that Drama was going to be first, just because it's so simple and easy to get into.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like it's necessarily a vibe, as people would say, but it's more so just like a call out for people to just kind of lose their minds.
Yeah, if you were playing the show, that would be the opener.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what made you go in a more R&B kind of soulful, mature direction with this song? Because when I was listening to it, I just had like High School Reg in my head,
Yeah.
We're in that room. I don't know if you remember the camera class that we had. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh yeah, Cast or something.
Yeah, it was Cast. So I had that image of you freestyling in the Cast room. I still have that video on my phone actually.
Yeah.
And I had that image, and you're talking about, oh, she in the coupe, and I'm like, okay, so he talking that shit on. So what made you like essentially like just show like, listen, I'm a grown man now?
Quite frankly, none of my music is sexy.
Okay.
No, like absolutely fucking none of it is like at all. Like, cause a lot of the artists that I listen to and that I grew up listening to, they're like very fucking niche people. Like you have to be like a 1% of a 1% kind of person to even get any sort of grasp on what's going on. And for a lot of time, my music reflected that. And then I guess I just started thinking about like my overall objective. Like, all right, do I want to entertain just like one specific subset of people? Or do I want to make music that brings everyone together and there's an element for everyone? So after a while, I was just like, man, let me try my damn hardest to make something that's like impossible to like not move to.
Yeah.
Or like, and like everybody puts on music whenever you might have somebody over, somebody special, or you might have family or something. So it's just creating as many opportunities for myself to kind of like, I guess, on some like evil scientist type shit to like put my music like in their brains or like in their fucking whatever circumstances that might be. Like just allowing myself room to be a fly on the wall
Are you seeing that reaction from this particular track?
Yes.
Where, how? What are you seeing? What's the response? What are people saying? How? When it's on, what is the vibe people want to attach to that?
It's cliche, but so many women are just like, this is yes. Like I like the exact objective that I wanted to get from it, I got. Where it's just like anybody could listen to it. I could play it for my mom. She'll love it. She'll be like, do 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 do, because it's more melodic based. I'm not doing like fucking like 32 bar verses rapping about some shit that nobody understands. Like, it's very simple and just like broken down. It's like sample size. It's a little bit of an earworm that people could latch onto. And a lot of my personal friends is just like, yeah, like this is summer. This is exactly summer. Yeah.
Definitely. So do you feel like when you're doing these, science experiments with your music, you're also, accidentally finding out more about your identity, especially when it comes to making music?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't even think I had the capacity to make something like this in a way, because I feel like back then I would just be like, oh no, that's too easy. No, I gotta do it more. I gotta take it a step further. Like, it's so easy to do da 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 da. But then, like, honestly, like, I didn't know how to write records like that. I was like fucking 16, and like all I really cared about was like fucking skateboarding and like random shit and like fucking burgundy velvet vans and stuff like that. So it's like I didn't have like that sort of perspective until I started like putting the music down, getting out of the studio more, and hanging out with more people and just seeing like how they operate within like specific settings, where it's just like, oh, like this is what gets people to do da 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 da. So it's almost like, it sounds kind of wild, but like almost like social engineering in a way. Like, because when you think about it, music is like the most purest, kindest form of emotional manipulation. Yeah. So it's like, if you making good music, you're gonna make people feel good about themselves. So it's like, how about instead of me trying to prove that I'm the fucking best, most lyrical, technical rapper, I just make something that can make people feel good about themselves that they can play all the time.
Yeah. Oh, so when did you go from, or do you feel like this EP was the first time you went and thought of tracks as like records, and you're trying to make something that has an effect, whereas you're just making music? Because those are totally two different things.
Yeah, this is definitely the first time where I like sat down and like really thought about the effect that a song is gonna give off, instead of having it be like a completely selfish like me thing. Because before then, like, I used to just say like fucking anything on a record, like, because especially considering like the musical landscape and the cultural landscape we were in only like a few years ago, like niggas like X and Ski and all this other stuff, you could say basically whatever on a record, and as long as it was accompanied by like some distorted bass, like, you were coolin'. But it's like, now we're in a different space, and like everybody's building their own identities musically, and it's like, I don't know, I want to make something that can stay for a while, not something that's just a sign of the times. So I feel like Hola was a good first step towards that.
So how long do you think this song is gonna last, honestly, before you have to make something that's not this and it's new?
Honestly, as long as people will have me for. Honestly, like hopefully for a while, but at the same time, like, I'm always making new stuff, so it's like whenever people are ready to put this song down, they'll have 5 more to pick right back up.
So do you feel like it was one of the mistakes you were making beforehand by not thinking of these tracks as full records, that you want to create something, or it was just something you had to learn? You didn't know yet, you didn't know how to do it, you had to get all that social experimentation done that you were talking about to get to this point?
In a way, like, I always kind of longed to make records, but I don't know, I just didn't get out enough to really do that.
So you're saying that your ability to record build is tied to your exploration in like being able to make music in New Jersey, make music in New York, in Brooklyn, wherever, or with whomever you know see fit.
Yeah, and just being social in general. I wasn't like antisocial in high school. Like I was hanging out with friends and stuff like that, but I was like only social like in high school and like in the neighborhood. So it's like not even within music, but just exploring like life, like coming out to New York and like hanging out in PA and just seeing like all these factors that affect people's personalities and like coming from their backgrounds. Like all of that is important. Yeah. So it's just understanding like the very fundamental elements that makes up a human being and like their consciousness and stuff like that. I took whatever I can from that with a fresh new mindset, with a fresh new perspective, and was like, okay, I'm gonna make good songs. Like, because rapping is only one form of expression. I saw rapping as everything, but instead, let me use that as a tool towards making a good song.
Yeah, so before we move on to Max Payne, right, which is one of my personal favorite tracks, talk to me a little bit more about popping that bubble and just being able to explore and learning more about other people's personalities and how you tied that into your music.
Whew. It was a pretty tough bubble to pop for a little bit.
Because for people who don't know, it's tough to get out of Jersey, especially if you don't try to. It's not easy.
No, for real. Like Jersey, you could stay in Jersey literally for the rest of your life if you wanted to. It's kind of
you won't even realize that you're stuck at a point. You know, staying the shit long enough is not gonna smell right.
No, for real, yeah.
To Jersey, it's just like it's not for what you're trying to do and what I'm trying to do is not a place that you could be. You know,
Jersey's where you go to retire from after you've already done all the stuff that you left Jersey for.
You know, go get you a house in Short Hills and you just vibe out.
Exactly.
That's the goal.
Exactly. But to get that bubble to pop, I think the last few years, like I kind of chilled on putting out solo material for a while, because I realized that I was just in such like a state, like with my image, with the subject matter, and like all the stuff that I was talking about, where I was like, wait a minute, like this isn't even, I'm not even sure if this is even who I am, or if this is something that like I can even really like show anyone, because it was so like specific.
Yeah.
So I was like,
especially in that area.
Exactly, yeah. So I just chilled for like 2-3 years, you know, had some experiences, some great, some terrible, and I just eventually just did the work that comes with being an artist, which is like having stuff to make art about. And then that plus, you know, all the stuff with VWL, now I got all these new egos and personalities to like try and make sense and contextualize. And through that, all that did was make me understand other people even more, because we all, even though we all live in the same place, we all have, I wouldn't say drastic, but semi-drastically different backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like some of us come straight from the burbs, some of us come straight from the hood, some of us knew what it was like to be homeless, others were like, not necessarily spoon-fed, but it's like, you had the American dream where it was like, all right, you get the 2 kids and a dog type situation. So it's a bunch of backgrounds that I have to contextualize, and all that did was help me form my new perspective on music, so that when I came back, it was like, all right, I'm ready and stuff. And that's definitely what helped the bubble pop, like working with my group 110%.
That makes a lot of sense. Y'all did do a lot between Afro Punk, getting the deal, putting out videos, so that's a great answer. Thank you. Yeah, Max Payne is the next track.
Nobody scared of no police.
something that like people would be like, "What? You really did that with this one?"
I was listening to a lot of BK the Ruler.
Okay.
When I was listening to so much fucking BK the Ruler, Valet, Maddox when I was making this record in particular. I love this record a lot. It's almost my favorite, but it's like by a hair though and stuff. But yeah, like I was just influenced by like a lot of I guess you could say kind of like almost offbeat rap in a way, like this new era where it's like you see it a lot, especially from like I don't want to miss.
I mean, Earl does it. Action Bronson kind of does it. Freddie Gibbs does it at certain times, not all the times, and not overtly, but you can hear it and you can see it. So I know what you mean with the new. Like the Griselda does it all the time, even.
Yeah, it's just kind of like embracing like the imperfections and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But BK the Ruler was like the first time that like I've seen somebody do that, and it was like really refreshing, like and shit like that. So yeah, I was just listening to her a bunch, and then after a while, like the type of pockets that she was hitting, like she was just. It was weird. It was like she was kind of marching to her own beat. She didn't really give a fuck about the beat she was rapping on. Yeah. It was more so about like, this is just a canvas for me to like put my, like dance around on, like fuck the beat, like I'm on my own shit. So I kind of wanted to attack something like that, but then make it like my own thing, and then take it somewhere completely different.
Would you say, because for me, this seems like this is the song that is a stamp on the EP. Would you agree with that for yourself, or is there a different song that has that for you?
I feel like it's either this or the last track. Okay. Like I keep flip flopping in between, especially when I ask people.
What makes you flip flop from this one to the other one?
Because I feel like in terms of energy, like this track in particular is just like that's it. 100%. But like the last track, I feel like thematically, like it's like all of the EP wrapped into one. You know, and the funny part about Speedway and this EP was that even though I didn't realize that I was doing it, this EP is kind of like my version of like the 5 stages of grief, like after like a relationship ending or some shit like that. It's pretty left open for interpretation on purpose, but like whether it's like romantic, platonic, or like parental or some shit. But I felt like even with the past 3 tracks, like Drama was kind of like denial in a way. It was like a mixture of anger and denial, because it's like kind of sassy in a way, and it's just like, man, I got problems, but fuck that, who cares? I'm on some other shit. And then like Hola is like maximum like all I care about right now is just like hanging out with somebody that's gonna make me feel good. Fuck my problems. And just basically being a whore. Like Hola's low key about being
summertime. Listen,
that's what
you gotta do. Okay.
While like Max Payne is like, all right, this is like anger. Like while the first 2 was like flip flopping between anger and denial. Like this is like, all right, this is straight up anger. I'm angry for what? Who knows? But like Max Payne, like is definitely like in terms of energy, it's like at an all-time high. And yeah.
So speaking of those themes, do you feel like you were able to acknowledge those things that you're talking about just now and release them through the music, and that's why this release feels so good, because it was therapeutic for you to talk about these things, and then be able to put it out into something that's actually well received, you know?
It was very much cathartic, because like as I said before, like I'm used to like doing the whole me thing. So it's like, it was weird, like as I was trying to make music that felt good to other people, like in the background, in the back of my head, like subconsciously, I didn't even know that that's what this EP was about until like I was on the receiving end of it and everything was already done. And I don't know, I'm a very thoughtful person. I like to take stuff, like I like to find a lot of meaning in like the subtleties and stuff. So even when I'm writing lyrics, like I'll just go on like for like a long time, write some stuff that I'm not even sure that I understand, but my intuition is telling me this is what you're feeling. So just write it the fuck down, and then after a while, it's like, oh, okay, like it starts to come together. It's weird.
Yeah.
So it's a blur when I'm doing it.
So tell me about how you came to understand what you were trying to say afterwards, because you say you didn't realize until you were on the receiving end of it. So what was it like? Was it through other people? Was it through listening to it yourself from the aspect of like, I'm done with this, so I can just enjoy it? And like, what was that discovery like for you? Did it stir up anything extra that inspired more music, and that's why you're working on the deluxe? Like, what happened there?
Definitely, I feel like all of it, but the majority of it, like I feel like 75% definitely lies in just being able to listen to it without thinking about the next song. It's like, okay, like what do we have at hand here? Because I know I'm done. There's nothing I can do to like change this, so let me like actually sit back and listen.
Is that a comfort state for you to be able to be like, I know this is done and I could just listen to it?
Yes. I don't consider myself a perfectionist at all, really. It's just like, all right, like what can I do that's gonna say what I feel in the most honest and effective way possible? But I don't get too wrapped up in it to the point where it's like I'll sit on a record for like 5 years or some nut shit like that. No, that's not me. Or whatever. But yeah, definitely getting a chance to listen to it after everything was done. It just offered a new level of understanding, a new surface of understanding what Speedway was even really about. Because the homie Dante, he called me up after the EP dropped, like maybe 2 or 3 days afterwards, and he asked me about the significance of the checkerboard flag and shit like that. And he was like, yeah, so it's like, does that mean anything? And I realized I never really talked about it like that much. But I guess like over time, even like today, I was thinking like what the checkerboard flag means to me is like the finish line, something that you see that like you want to go for, because that's the last thing that you see at the end of a race. Like that's ultimately what you're chasing. So the checkerboard flag could be anything. It could be like a good career, like a good, like a healthy relationship with like your family, or maybe you want to have more fortune in general. So it get a checkerboard, the Speedway flag, it represents just running towards something that you ultimately want and stuff like that.
Since you have this theme for the EP, right? You're working on an album with your brother called Brothers. Yeah. Why break the Speedway theme, or why even break the Brothers theme? Because that was conceptualized first, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, what I was always curious about, like, okay, now I know what Speedway means, now I know what the checkered flag stands for, but why not have this EP that seems like such a statement to you flow into this album with Brothers? Not saying that it doesn't, but just like literally thematically, why doesn't it flow?
Honestly, Speedway just seemed more concrete and easier, while like Brothers is still something that we're like actively swimming in and trying to like muster up. Just the idea. Like I feel like the concept of Speedway is so like you know what it is. Like it's real and it's in front of your face. While Brothers, we're still actively working towards that, you know. And I feel like Brothers is more like autobiographical, while like Speedway, that's kind of up for anybody. Like anybody could relate to it. It's not a me thing. It's like this is something for all of us to experience.
Right.
You know?
So with Max Payne, right? You explored a lot of different like styles. You have a lot of energy. You're rapping. There's a beat switch up.
Yeah.
If you had to perform this live, like what? Just tell me about that, because I can't. My thing with this song was the switch up. I'm like, people are gonna love this. There's no way people are gonna see this and be like, oh, this is bad, I don't like this. Like, you give that to me at a show full blown on some speakers, I'm going crazy in the mosh pit. So are you looking forward to that moment, or is that why you made it, or was it just you just wanted to get that anger out and this is how it manifested itself?
I was actually more so excited than I was angry when I was producing this record with Les, because he did the first half, and then the second half, I feel like I always loved doing transitions like earlier in my music, but it was always like very like clunky or like sloppy. So with this, I kind of wanted to do something that just, I don't know, just tasteful. Kind of had like a Transylvanian thing going on with it to like help with introduce like the more nocturnal elements of the EP. And yeah,
So
and it's gonna fucking bang out a show.
This is a transition, not only in the song but for the EP as a whole.
Kind of, sort. I mean, I feel like the EP. Well, Hola kind of sounds like the sun's going down. That's kind of how I wrote like the EP, where it's like drama is like, okay, it might be like, what, you might have just gotten off of work and you're like driving home, you're excited as hell. Hola is like the sun going down and it's like, all right, the night's about to start. And Max Payne is like, all right, the night's here. It's like fucking 8 p.m., 9 p.m. What are we getting into? What antics are we getting into? Okay. So that's kind of just a little thing that I had in the back of my head that helped me reel everything together.
And that takes us into the next song, I'm So Mad at You, right?
Yeah, Mad at You. You know, throw that joint on. I'm so mad at you. That's why I'm so mad at you. I'm so mad at you. I'm so mad at you.
Do you understand the dive that you took after Hola? Do you understand that, like, there's a
You tell me.
It's because you go through these emotions, like you said, you know, you just gotta work. The sun's going down, it's nighttime, I'm trying to party, what's going on? And then, like, you could essentially say this is the next day and you're like regretting everything you did the day before. So, like, what made you go so personal?
That song kind of wasn't, I don't want to say wasn't supposed to be there, but it happened completely naturally, like totally spontaneously.
Yeah.
You know, because I wasn't thinking about an interlude for this project whatsoever. Like, it just came to me in a dream. Like, I had like a not a bad dream, but just a dream like that I was experiencing with somebody that I haven't seen in a while, and it's like we're not exactly like on the like speaking terms anymore. So it was one of those dreams where it's like it kind of detailed back to like one of the less entertaining parts of my life, and I don't know. Like, as soon as I woke up, I was like, well, I'm not gonna fucking call you, so I might as well take this and like turn it into something positive and just write whatever comes to mind. So
you never stopped to be like, maybe I shouldn't like be this open on this track. Maybe I shouldn't say these things because they might hear it and I'm gonna hurt their feelings, or like nothing. There was no red flags for you ever?
Nah, I mean, that's what music is for, you know. Just like, and also from my perspective, I didn't know if it was even gonna make the record. I was just going with the flow. And like I said, like even in like that recording, like that was on my phone. Like, you can't set up a personal moment like that and then like throw on some headphones. Like, no, like I recorded that shit with a bonnet on my head, crust in my eyes, white, like fucking white tee, like in the kitchen, just like leaning over the kitchen table, just like saying whatever the fuck it is that was on my mind. And I don't know, I thought that getting personal, there's no wrong way to go about it, because it's like, if people are invested in what you've given them beforehand, then all that's gonna do is make them want to learn more about you anyway. And I felt like thematically, like this fit, this just fit everything that was going on surrounding it. And yeah, like I love this record so much.
Yeah. I think people listening to it will really appreciate the fact that you went so personal. You gave something so vulnerable that they could relate to, and like at times, on the first listen for me, it was like jarring. I remember listening to the EP before we did the interview on Twitch, and like I was like, holy shit, you know, like I really, and I told you this before, I really had to like get myself out of that mindset of the song before I did the interview, because I was just like, yo, this is, you know, there's a lot here, and I completely understand it and relate to it. And I think that song really speaks for itself. There's not much you could say besides like it's personal and vulnerable. And I think every listener will take a lot from that.
For real, yeah. Nah, shouts out to anybody who ever like had like a negative experience in their life and they took that negativity and then, you know, turned that tragedy to triumph, in the words of Kanye. Yeah. So yeah, I love that record so much. It's just, I don't know, like you said before, there's not much to really say about it. It's just, I feel like if it's not Max Payne or like the last track of the EP, then it's definitely like this is like the nucleus of like Speedway, like in its most vulnerable state. Because I don't really make records like that unless it just creeps up on me. So yeah, big fan of that. That's my personal favorite of the entire EP.
So let's talk about the next track, and then I want to talk about what's gonna be on the deluxe.
Hell yeah.
Please change your mind. Please change your mind. Please take your time. Now you might change. If you take your time, you might change.
That track, I mean, it's really tough to make a song that is a statement as an outro, and that's what happened with that one. It's clear that you had some influence from Kanye, but what did you take from yourself to make it, you know, a statement for Reg, and you know, just to be able to be like, this is how I'm ending my EP right now?
Well, little fun fact, I love sample rap, like mafioso shit, like Rock Marciano, Action Bronson, obviously, and then there's like the newbies like Makami and like Mike and shit like that. So I've grown up on rap like that. That was the rap and the hip hop that I gravitated towards when I was like 10, 11, 12. Like all my favorite artists did shit like that. And I felt like it was really important that if I was gonna make an EP or an album or whatever, where it's like I'm giving people a lot of something that they would want to hear, that whether I started off or ended off, I want to end it with something that's more towards something that's me and something that I appreciate. So I don't know. And it's like, it's so fucking soulful, man. Like who's gonna be mad at that, you know?
What made you be more vocal on this one? What made you take more vocal pockets and with the singing and just the whole soulfulness of the track? What made you sing a little bit more?
I've always wanted to do like more melodic bass stuff, but I just felt like it was really important to like show my chops as a rapper as well as a songwriter, like leading up to this. And I feel like this track is just kind of like all of that in one. But I really wanted to lean more towards, you know, singing a little bit more, just because of how soulful and how potent the sample is. It's kind of impossible not to want to, you know, kick a little line to it or two. So yeah, I wanted to take more risks.
Yeah, definitely. So how is this song and these tracks gonna get into the deluxe that you're working on? And well, let me ask you: is the deluxe gonna pick up right where this leaves off, or is it gonna be a different vibe? Is it gonna? Oh, you don't have to tell me the amount of songs.
Oh yeah.
You know, is it a continuation, or is it just more that you had to say?
Whew. I mean, I think that it's I think that it's more that I have to say, but it's kind of both. Like it's more that I have to say, but now I'm kind of like at rest with the way things were in this part. Like I see it as kind of like a chapter. Like Speedway, this is like the chapter where it's like, okay, like me finding myself and getting back to me again. So it's like with Drama, it's like, oh well, I have problems, but fuck it, I don't care. And then Hola is like me being a whore, and then Max Payne is like, all right, now I thought that I would not be upset about this after all this time, but I still am. And then Mad at You is like me coming together and collecting myself and just being real with myself and being like, all right, I'm mad, but like in the most like calm way ever, like that juxtaposition, you know, where it's like I'm mad, but not to the point where I'm gonna let it consume me. And then Babe, I Think It's Time is like the first time that like I'm kind of like talking and like speaking and singing, but in a way where it's not like I'm not being sassy. There's not like an ulterior motive to it. Like I'm just saying it all with love, like all of that and stuff like that. But I feel like with so there's that chapter. So it's like this whole arc to like try and get back to myself and hold myself accountable for like past like bad experiences that I might have been a part of, or like past experiences that might have been done onto me. And Speedway XL is where we like the second chapter is where it's like, all right, turned over a new leaf. Like now I'm ready for the next me and stuff like that. So Speedway XL is kind of, I guess you could say, like an introduction to like the next era of Reg Mason in a way, where it's like now it's like all circled in on me. I done paid my dues, I done said my apologies, and now on to this bread. That's kind of where we're at now.
So why with that? Because you said, you know, it's kind of full circle for you, really. Well, why not take it in this new Reg that you're talking about? Why not put it into a new project rather than a deluxe? So basically, why a deluxe?
I feel that, yeah. I feel like it was cool. It would just be a cool idea to just have kind of two projects. Like it kind of almost exists separately but together, like a companion piece in a way. So it's like Speedway could very much be its own thing. Like if people want to hear just those 5 tracks, they could hear those 5 tracks and they could feel a resolution and resolve. But I feel like it would be cool to have a companion piece to Speedway where it's like everything over here but flipped. Like and I felt like that kind of fits in with the whole checkerboarded thing where it's like, okay, like not to be like super duper specific, where it's like, you know, the one on the left is white, the one on the left is black, the one on the left is white, the one on the left, you know? So it's like they're kind of next to each other, and they like, even though they're together, they have their own separate spaces that they also, you know, happen to share. Yeah. So I just thought that it'd be a cool idea to just go back and to just elevate what I've already done and to make it into something where I have like 10 times more confidence. And like over time, you can hear me gather more and more of my sense of self. Like, and it's like a gradual thing. Cause like in the beginning of Drama, like I'm like sassy and it's like, whatever. I'm like mad low energy, but it's like in XL, I'm rejuvenated. Like you can hear like the work that I put in from Speedway, it doesn't go unnoticed. So it's like it travels over into like the next era where it's like, all right, you see the work that's been put into my improvement as a performer, as an individual, and all that. So I feel like it could definitely fit.
Yeah. So does any of this come from the excitement and the reaction that you've gotten from the EP so far? Because it's been good, it's been well received, people like it, people are paying more attention to you and this because of the artistry on this. So are you taking some of that fuel and putting it into this deluxe?
Oh yeah, I haven't dropped music in like 3 years. Hell yeah, and I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep dropping. But like I really appreciate people receiving this so well, because you know I don't really expect anything from anyone. So the fact that it resonated with somebody to the point where they could like text me on the side, or to just outwardly say to the world like, hey, I love this, you may not, but I do, so check it out. Like, so I think that's great. And it's like, what's wrong with having a little bit, like, if you're serving the people, I don't think they're gonna be upset if you giving them a little bit more, giving them some extras. So yeah, and I'm gonna make it all make sense too. So yeah.
Well, listen, Reg, great EP.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you so
I can't
much.
wait to see what you do with the rest of this. I'm excited to see what Vibe World Order does. I gotta talk to the rest of them. It needs to happen. So
Yo.
know what's up.
Now you